Hey guys, it's Dani. Alrighty, due to popular request, and of course because I kind of promised you, today we're gonna make an update actually, on my Phragmipediums and Paphiopedilums. See how they're doing, how they're developing, if they're blooming or not. And I have to tell you, I'm not the best Paphiopedilum / Phragmipedium grower. I never had a whole lot of them. I do still own some that I've had for a few years, but you know, never excelled in it. And in the past year, I kind of started to go into some different species of Paphiopedilums and even 3 Phragmipediums. So we're gonna see how they're doing today. First of all, we're gonna start with the old Paphiopedilums. And by old, I mean 1 year or more than 1 year old. So let's start off with the oldest Paphiopedilum that I have, which is this little guy right here. Now, this is a NoID Paphiopedilum. I received it as a pretty tiny plant, I don't know, 3 years ago or something. And if you remember, it was the climbing Paphiopedilum. It used to have a new fan sprouting directly from the top of the plant. And P.S., you will probably hear some outside noises. I cannot do anything about it. This is a very noisy area, and I cannot find the time of day to film, so I'm sorry about that. Hope it's not gonna be very annoying. Alrighty, so this guy used to have a fan right on top. And then I separated the 2 plants. One of the divisions went to Ana Maria, aka Miracle Orchids here on YouTube. The other division I kept. And I believe this is the top part, if I'm not mistaken. And lucky for me, it did not create a new growth on top. Now I'll share with you down below in the description that video to see how I went about separating the top, making sure it has roots and all of those things. But if you remember a while back, I told you this guy is producing a bud, and he was right here at the top. But as you can see, it is brown. So yeah, it aborted the bud, sadly. I'm not entirely sure why, but he is producing a new growth quite fast right now. When I arrived here, this guy was not in the greatest shape, and he worked on a root system. He does have roots inside the pot, so root-wise, he worked on it. But I think this kind of took a toll on the bud. Also, I can see that the bottom leaves are starting to be shed. With Paphiopedilums, this is quite normal, but it happens after a fan blooms, as you will see in the other examples. So I think this guy will totally skip blooming, and he will invest his energy into the new growth. Fingers crossed that the new growth will do a little better. Okay, next to him we have a Paphiopedilum vinicolor, and this is the one we decided to try out the peat experiment. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, check the description down below and you will see what I mean, you'll see what the experiment is about. So as you can see, this guy has some deficiency issues that I'm not entirely sure what caused them. So this is why he's in the experiment. However, he's been pulling through. He's not great with the root system. He had a massive infestation of spider mites. We treated it, but it took a toll. This is the original plant, and as you can see, it is dying off slowly but surely. This is what Paphiopedilums do. And right now he's working on a new growth on this side. And I also saw another one on this side. It's a really tiny one. So that's great. He's producing a new leaf right here. It is not a bud. And I'm curious to see if he regains his color. Anyway, this is one of the most abused Paphiopedilums that I have. And when these guys start to decline, it really takes a while until they bounce back. They're really slow growers. But I think he's on the right track. Next up, we have the Paphiopedilum American hybrid that I have for a year now. And this is what I was saying by the old plant starts to slowly wither away. As you can see, this is the original plant that had the bloom. She's starting to wither away, but she created a new growth which grew extremely fast over the course of the summer and spring. And there we go, it is starting to create a bud. And you can see the difference between the bud's sheath. This is not the bud, it's a little sheath. The bud inside is actually pretty hairy and it didn't poke through just yet. So this is the visual difference between the sheath and the actual leaves. In this case, it's really easy to tell because we are not dealing with a mottled leaf Paphiopedilum, but with a green leaf one. And I kind of discovered that for me, the green-leaved Paphiopedilums are less finicky. They're doing a little bit better, as you will see with the other ones, than the mottled leaves ones. There is actually a difference between the two, and it would just appear that it's easier for me to grow the green-leafed ones. Next to it we have the Paphiopedilum supardii. This is a species that I received last year from one of my viewers, and he was a little tiny baby when I received him, practically a seedling, and he grew quite a lot ever since then. Now, this is a greened leaf Paphiopedilum. I kind of need to look at some pictures, but as you can see, I do see some veining here. I'm not entirely sure if this is normal, but I am inspecting it. Not sure if this is a sort of a little deficiency or not. Other than this veining, he doesn't really appear to be bothered by anything. He grows roots like menthol. And he's also growing pretty fast in comparison to others. But this is yet another one of those orchids that made me think, maybe the fact that LECA raises pH is not necessarily a good idea for some orchids at least. Cattleyas cannot be bothered, as you could see, but there are a few that I feel they're bothered by the high pH. And there are Paphiopedilums and Phragmipediums which prefer an acidic environment. So for those types of plants is mainly why I'm doing that experiment. But the supardii is growing okay. I just need to figure out what's wrong with the color, if there's anything wrong with the color, and yeah, try to fix it. And next to him we have yet another one of the oldest Paphiopedilums that I have. I think this is the second one that I've ever purchased. I have him for 3 or 4 years already. And this is not the original plant. The original plant withered away and it kept creating fans. At some point it created 2 fans that got separated, and these are the 2 fans. And these 2 fans are brothers, but they're behaving completely different. So you see the one in the back looks really great. It's also very stable in the pot. It did create roots, and it's also producing a flower bud. And this is what I was saying with the sheath and the bud inside. This is a really fuzzy and hairy bud covered with a not so fuzzy sheath and a very fuzzy stem. Anyway, so he's been doing really great. This bud is growing pretty fast if you consider how slow they are. However, his brother is not doing great. He has something here. I'll need to chop the leaves again. So he had some dieback or an infection at the tip of the leaf. I cut it, but it kind of continued. And I'm afraid right now I really need to cut these leaves and then apply cinnamon and hope that it will not go further. In case it does, I need to separate them because I don't want whatever infected this plant to go on the other plant. So yeah, I will need to intervene with this guy. I'm not sure if I told you what he is. He's the Modier green. It has a beautiful green and white flower, and it's pretty common. You can find it in flower shops or garden centers. You don't need to necessarily order it from a nursery. So these were the oldest Paphiopedilums. So now we can go to the new ones and also take a look at the Phragmipediums. And I need to wash my hands because I touched that Paphiopedilum, which looks really weird. Okay, next up we have 4 Paphiopedilums that I acquired or received during this year, so in 2017. And yeah, these guys are actually doing pretty well. So let's start from this corner, and that transition was spectacular. So this is the Paphiopedilum Rothschildianum. Now this was the smallest one that I received. He was a young plant, not yet mature, and yeah, he's really growing fast. He created this entire leaf in, I don't know, about 4 months or so. And he matured this leaf. He's looking quite great. Root-wise, I'm not entirely sure because I potted these guys directly into semi-hydro. Oh wait, that can't be because I started semi-hydro about 2.5, actually 3 months ago. So yeah, I don't have these guys for 4 months, but probably 2.5, 3 months. Anyway, so I potted these guys directly into semi-hydro. Oh, okay, they do have roots, they are attached, they're not moving too much, so that's good. If an orchid wobbles, you just know it didn't create roots, it didn't anchor herself very well. But this guy is not wobbling, he's really sturdy. So he's doing really great, and this is why I was saying that it just seems to me that green-leafed Paphiopedilums just do better for me. They grow faster, they don't have leaf-tip diebacks or stuff of the sorts. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to say, but I'm glad they're doing great because these are wonderful looking species. So I'll link you down below to the video in which I got these guys because I do share some photos with them. Just take a look, they're wonderful. Some of them are multiple bloomers. They create either in a sequence, either all at once, multiple buds, so they don't have only one flower. Really nice species, at least to know about and to have them in mind if you ever want to purchase them. Alrighty, next to him we have, this is actually a cross. This is Paphiopedilum Philip, no, it's not a cross. The other one is the Paphiopedilum philippinensis. He arrived to me with 2 growths. This one, which is really big, and I'm hoping for a flower soon. But this fan also had a tiny little fan growing, and immediately after I purchased it, I discovered that the fan had crown rot. So there we go. He used to have a tiny leaf here, and when I looked inside, it was completely black, and the blackness kept going up. I had to cut it, and that's that. I don't suspect this fan will develop more, but I don't want to remove it. It's still green. If it's gonna die off on its own, I will remove it then. But now he's just photosynthesizing. He's helping the entire plant. There's really no need for me to do anything. The orchid is obviously not investing energy into it if nothing's growing, but he can definitely produce a root system. He's definitely photosynthesizing with these leaves, and overall he is helping. He's not a parasite. Don't get me too literal here, right? I'm just saying he's not consuming energy for nothing. However, the other fan, which is the mother plant, looks phenomenal. Look at him, and he did grow ever since I purchased it. This yet again is a beautiful multifloral type of Paphiopedilum. He has beautiful colors, really big flowers. So I'm really excited to see these guys in bloom, and I'm really happy they do okay. If it turns out that my climate or my style of growing or things of the sorts are not suited for the model leaves Paphiopedilums, or they just simply are not ideal, I really am not very sad, because these Paphiopedilums are just gorgeous. And if they're doing great for me, you know, I'm happy. Okay, from this guy, let's look at the other orchid, which was in the same order. And this guy is looking spectacular. This is the cross. Uh-oh, I cannot remove the tag because probably roots grew over it. Oh, okay, let me show you. There you go. We have multiple roots, so I'm not gonna take out the tag. This is the Judge Peter. I will just have to take a look back into my videos, and I'll put the name on the screen because I don't remember the name of the orchid. Anyway, this Paphiopedilum was purchased at the same time with the other ones, and he was the most evolved, let's say. He had the most fans, and he's just doing so well. He's growing new tiny fans. Ever since I purchased it, they started to sprout. The existing fans are still growing. This bloomed in the past. This fan will not bloom again. It will start to wither away. This one, I'm not entirely sure. I see something. I don't know. There's something in here, but I'm not entirely sure what it is. I'm not sure how old this fan is. So this might or might not bloom, but this will certainly bloom, hopefully. It has the potential at least to bloom because it is a new fan. So he's been doing just wonderful, and you saw the root system. It looks spectacular. I have nothing to say. I really do think that green-leafed Paphiopedilums do better for me. And P.S. all of my Paphiopedilums and the Phragmipediums, except one, they all grow under lights. They don't grow in natural light. And the last Paphiopedilum that we shall talk about is this guy. This is again a NoID. I received it this year from one of my lovely viewers, Max, and he was in such a poor condition. He was all floppy when I received it. He rejuvenated himself. He grew a lot of roots. I cannot even move this orchid from its pot, meaning the roots are well anchored. Now, he's been doing great. This did not used to be here. It grew over the past 5 months or 6 months. But yet again, I do have some dieback, as you can see. I cut it, but it's still spreading. So I'm gonna cut it again further up, put cinnamon, and hopefully it's gonna do okay. This looks a little better. See, it didn't go further here, but here it did. So I think the infection is more spread than I thought. It's just invisible. So I'm not entirely sure what it is. But this guy is doing pretty well, I have to say. The color of the leaves is nice. Everything looks good on it except the dieback here, which I suspect is just a bacterial infection. He's growing another new fan here, which looks great. I think I saw another one in the back. This is a new fan. Hopefully it's gonna bloom. I just need to make sure that that infection doesn't spread. So this is a mottled leaf that does great for me, but you know, he has that infection. He has been attacked. On these guys, the leaf tips look in tip-top condition. There's no trouble with them. But with the mottled leaves ones, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Maybe I'm overthinking about it. But okay, now let's see the Phragmipediums. And here are the Phragmipediums, which do not all fit in the frame. So we'll just take them one by one. Let's start with the one that's doing the best. This is the Ainsworthy. He is the beautiful red-pink one. And yeah, he's just growing like a bush. I have absolutely no issue with this guy. The older growths are starting to slowly wither away, so some cosmetic touches he kind of needs. But other than that, he's doing great, and I really do hope he's gonna bloom again. These are all new growths that didn't bloom. Well, this is an older one, but these are new ones, and I really hope he will bloom. And inside we can see, I don't know if you can see, but we do have a lot of very tiny ones. He's continuously producing new growth. For this reason, these types of Phragmipediums can become very, very bushy. They seem to have adapted to semi-hydro pretty well. I do still have a sort of a question mark because this one and the other Bessay hybrid, they're supposed to like pretty acidic environments, so I might just include them in the test. Not entirely sure. They're doing okay. I'm not entirely sure about these let's say lightly colored leaves. They might be new leaves and that's why they look like that. I don't know. I'll see what I'll do. Next to it we have the Phragmipedium Memoria Clements. He's the guy with the multiple growths which are growing and they're starting to peek through. This guy had an issue. At some point I got really worried that he was sick. He kept yellowing leaves and I didn't know what was wrong with him until I looked under the leaves. And I saw a really bad infestation of mealybugs, so I needed to treat him. I kept him separate. Currently he doesn't have any more mealybugs. I did the alcohol solution, half alcohol, half water, continuously sprayed him, and he looks clean now. He doesn't have any more mealybugs, but the signs remain. So yeah, that's why he kind of looks a little bit bad. But he is doing okay. The roots, oh, they're there. He is pretty established. Doesn't look like he is dying in any way. You can actually see spots on the older leaves where the mealybugs attacked the leaves. You can see that one there as well. So yeah, I didn't see the mealybugs in the beginning. They were hiding, but at some point they came out to play. I got him rid of the mealybugs, but yeah. But luckily he's okay. I'm just a little bit on the fence with the whole pH situation. This guy needs a pretty acidic environment, so I have a feeling he's gonna be part of the experiment. And lastly, we have the Phragmipedium Popoe, which was in bloom when I purchased him, or actually he had a bud, and this was the growth with the bud. And ever since then, he is growing these two new growths he came with, and also he started another tiny one right here. This again is a type of Phragmipedium that grows multiple new fans at the same time. So even if these fans are not mature and blooming size yet, they are able to produce new fans of their own. And when they're gonna be in bloom, the new fans will be already halfway mature, like these ones were. I love this feature of Phragmipediums because they can transform into bushes really fast. So this guy has been doing well. He is the only one which is not sitting under lights. He's sitting together with the Cattleyas, if you can believe it. This is a highlight orchid. It's a little bit different than the Bessay hybrids in the sense that he would actually enjoy, or maybe better said, tolerate a little drier conditions. If you know, Phragmipediums are notorious for liking their feet wet, how they say. This guy, not so much. So I'm trying to give him a sort of a different care, and he's been doing quite okay ever since. And by the way, if you did not see the video with this guy in bloom, check it down below in the description. It is absolutely breathtaking. He has one of the longest flower, if I can call it like that. It has one of the longest sepals in the whole orchid world. You should definitely see it if you missed it. And yeah, he's doing okay, I would say. Doesn't look all that bad. And I think that is about it on my Paphiopedilums and Phragmipediums. This is my entire collection. As you could see, I don't have much, but I first want to see how I do with these guys. I already think I kind of do better with the green-leafed ones than the other ones, as I was saying. So I believe in the future I might try to focus more on those species or hybrids which are green-leafed. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little update. Thank you for suggesting it. And you know the drill, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for regular orchids and plants videos, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye! So in my previous video, the one with the tiny hole, you guys expressed the, let's say, disappointment that I actually didn't purchase the Tahitian Dancer. And well, I was not prepared that day to purchase these orchids, but afterwards I thought, you know what, I should have kind of gotten them. So behold, I went and got them. This is the Alisara Tahitian Dancer. She's not very fragrant at the moment, maybe smells a little bit like spring flowers, if I can call it like that, but not very fragrant for me, I have to say. I do enjoy the color. And another surprise, I went back for the Brassia as well, and this is the Brassia toscana. She actually has a label from Inca Orchids, and if you go on the website, you'll see the varieties. So somebody actually said they would have bought this Brassia as well. I went and bought it. There we go. So no worries, we have these orchids too now. Hopefully they're gonna do well.